last day of your Cert 4 Training and Assessment course. My name's Gary Rose and I'm CEO and founder of Rose Training Australia. But you probably knew that because you've just completed a Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment here at Rose Training Australia. Each week for the next 6 weeks, we'll send you a step-by-step guide to help you work through the Project 4 assessment. You have 6 weeks to complete your Project 4. And each week you're going to receive a video pretty much like this one is, and designed to give you a little bit of extra direction and optimise your learning outcomes. The Project 4 is self-directed, but that doesn't mean that you're on your own. You have our email addresses, you've got our phone number, call us at any stage if you need any sort of support. There's nothing in the Project 4 that you haven't already covered during your class time here at Rose Training. So this is just a wrap-up, if you will, of all the things that you've already learned within class and collating it within a project for you that says, yep, I understand this, it works for me, and now I'm going to show you how I can put it into practice in my workplace. Your Project 4 requires you to train for 45 minutes to an hour, just a little bit longer than what you did in class time, but not so difficult that you're not able to get through it. Within this short time frame, the likelihood of you getting through the whole unit of competence is pretty unlikely, really. We know that. So like you did for Project 1, you should choose the elements, competencies, required skills and knowledge for the unit of competence that you determine are the most important for effective training. We're only asking that you deliver the one training session knowing full well that you're not going to be able to get through the entire unit of competence. So what do you do with the leftover performance criteria, essential skills and knowledge, critical aspects of evidence, etc. That you haven't covered? Well, simple. We ask you to provide a session plan or session plans to indicate how this training will be completed. These need to be very detailed, as it will demonstrate how the unit will be covered in its entirety. Will you have to train this work? No, you won't. Will you have to build any extra assessment? No, you won't. Will you have to do an individual training needs analysis or language literacy and numeracy for that extra sessions? No, you won't. All you need to do is create a session plan, or more than one, if one session's not sufficient, to show how you would complete the complete unit of competence. Ideally, you'll be delivering to 10 people. That's what's suggested as what is a small group, 8 to 10 people. That said, you only need to assess 5 of these students. So if you've delivered to 10 and only assessed 5 and marked 5, I'm happy with that because it demonstrates to me that you can assess a small cohort. The feeling for this is that if you can demonstrate this successfully, you should be able to do this multiple times. So where are you going to deliver? The concept of this for you is to deliver at your own workplace. That's what we'd hope would happen. But you've come to Rose Training Australia so you can improve upon your skills of training and assessment. So it makes sense that you're going to use this where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, your workplace. Having said this, it's not always practicable to be able to deliver at your own workplace for lots of different reasons, and we understand that. So some suggestions to overcome this issue might be to ask a friend's workplace or organisation if they would benefit for some kind of training. If that doesn't succeed, you might consider simulated training environment, where you might deliver to a group of your friends in a simulated professional workplace environment. And that's the important part. Please be aware that if you do this, it needs to be very, very thorough, because when we're marking this, we're going to be looking very, very closely at this simulated type work. To give you an example, we had one particular trainer whose workplace wouldn't allow him to train within his workplace there. It just wasn't appropriate for him to do so. So what did he do? He got a group of his friends together around his house and he treated this as if it was a workplace. He called it Muhammad's Kitchen. He created a menu, a flyer, set up a professional environment, got someone to evaluate him who had their Cert 4 in TAE, and he looked at all the WHS considerations. In short, he made this a very professional, real environment to set up training and assessment. He trained food preparation and how to make goat curry, and it turned out absolutely fantastic because I know it did. He brought me in a bowl of the goat curry and I ate it and it was really good. So there are opportunities for you to be creative, if you're creative, to prepare something that you can do with your friends. But remember, you still need to make this as professional an environment as possible, and you need to have someone with their Cert 4 who can assess you. So if you're going to go down this path, you've got to demonstrate that you've covered all the necessary steps for your learners, that they get all of the learning outcomes required from the unit of competence as much as you can. I mean, that's what vocational education is all about, isn't it? So upon first reading the Project 4, it can seem a little overwhelming, but I promise you this is achievable. We've built this in a way so that 6 weeks are well paced, and it should be a fairly simple exercise of taking the project step by step. We'll help you break the project down step by step over the next 6 weeks. Again, if at any time you feel you need any help, just contact us. That'll be fine. We want to make sure that you get what you need out of this course, and we want to help you get through any of the challenges that you may have. So, what are we going to do first in this first week? Well, number one is you've got to ask, what are you going to train? Now, this might be a decision made on behalf of an organisation. Alternatively, someone may have come to you and said, listen, can you train me in XYZ? It might have gone like that, which would be fine. You might have to go to a different workplace and say, is there anything you would like me to train for you? And that's fine too. The next question you have to ask is, who am I going to train? Who and what may be in a different order depending on your circumstance, but rest assured, these are your first 2 priorities. Once you've got that started, that's week one just about knocked over. That's the extent of it. So pick up your phone. This is important. Make the phone calls you have to make to get the people involved that you're going to be training. Get the organisation on board with what you are doing. They'll have questions, so make sure you're prepared with answers for those questions. Now, if you happen to feel confident to go further than this, cool, go for it. Go further. If you fall behind a little bit, don't panic. You do have plenty of time in the 6 weeks. However, don't let yourself fall too far behind these videos, because it will make things a little bit hectic and you will feel under the pump. And we don't want that just before you're about to go out there and deliver training. So there's Project 4, week 1. Work out what you're going to train, who you're going to train, and where you're going to train. Get ready for another one of these videos coming out to you next week. Exciting, isn't it? Rose Training Australia, helping you shape your future. Hope this helps. Bye.